Welcome to Londonderry Heart, Home and Soul. We have very special guests in the studio this evening. The Tournament of Roses president, Lance Tibbett. Welcome.
Thank you.
His wife, Amelia, and a familiar face, Andy Susi, our director of music here at Londonderry. Welcome to New Hampshire.
Well, thank you. We're happy to be here.
And I was privileged to meet you the other night. There was a welcoming reception and you spoke.
Yes.
So what I'd like to have you do is walk us through Tournament of Roses. It's not just the football game.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's much more than the Rose Bowl game. The Rose Bowl, I have the benefit of being one of 935 volunteers that make up the Tournament of Roses. It's my fortune and honor to represent all those folks, and it's a great volunteer organization that's emblematic, I think, of what Americans are, because I think it's what Americans are really good at, which is reaching out, helping each other, and volunteering.
It's a culmination of a lot of years.
It is. This is my 38th year. My dad was a member before me, was a member for 24 years. Our son is in his 5th year of membership, so we're proud to have over 65 years involved at this point. And I really kind of got involved in it because of my dad. He would come home with great stories about what would happen, what wouldn't happen, what went wrong, and I got really interested in how it all came together. It's such a momentous event and on a world stage, and I just decided I wanted to be a part of that.
Explain for the audience the functionality, if you will. So you've got a parade committee and so on.
Sure.
And how this all comes together over a year's time, right?
Okay. Well, one of the things is we don't start building floats the day after Christmas. We actually, as a matter of fact, we're already here in late March, and floats are under construction and getting ready for the next year, which is how the tournament works. We really begin in February for the next year. And as a member, you come in your first 6 years, you're assigned to some of our bigger committees. In my case, post-parade was the first committee, and you might attend 4 meetings and show up on New Year's Day for your duty. Maybe you stand at a barricade out in the hinterlands protecting floats or keeping traffic out of an area. And over the years, you might become a vice chairman of a committee if you're lucky. And we have 32 operating committees. And those 32 operating committees, maybe one of them is in charge of our music, equestrian, parade operations. It runs the gamut of all of the various needs that the parade has. And you work your way through those. Like I say, you might become a vice chair. If you do, you spend 4 or 5 years learning that level of the organization. You become a chairman. I became a chairman after 18 or so years, 20 years in the tournament. And at that point, you go through another set of chairs or committees. And ultimately, and I'm very lucky to be one of those chosen to be among our leadership, 7 years before you're president, you're elected to our executive committee. And then you coordinate those operational committees. In other words, you're assigned to 4 or 5 to kind of interface with and help with their problems, logistics, and you also run or chair one of our standing subcommittees, budget and finance, audit, things like that. So ultimately, by the time you're president, hopefully you've seen everything. You're supposed to know everything, but that's never the case. You can never know it all.
Delegation, that's the key,
That's
right?
the key. Yep, indeed, and that's the success, really at the end of the day. And so it's our fortune this year, as I said, to represent those volunteers, and that's why we're in Londonderry, because we're here to visit the Lancers and bring awareness to their involvement, help them raise funds, and spread the good word of the Tournament of Roses.
And you're in the process now of visiting each community where a band has been invited to perform.
Correct, that is right. We're just getting started. We have 16 visits we'll make this year. There are 22 bands that are invited to this year's parade, and we have the benefit of going out to 16. This is our second. We're just getting started in all of this.
And some of those, we talked before going on air, are kind of perennial, do I say perennial invitees?
Correct. That's a really good term. We have the LA Unified School District that brings an all-star band of 400 kids, the PCC Community College, the Salvation Army, the Marine Corps. Those are some of our perennial invitees. So, and then
Well, the Lancers are invited to New York every year for St. Patrick's Day. Not quite the same.
not quite, but
It's a good crowd. It's a good crowd.
right. Yeah, indeed.
So, you've been chair of several of these organizations.
I
leading
have.
up to presidency.
Yes, yes. I've had the good fortune. We have kind of two sides of our house, if you will. You have what we call street committees, which are actually those committees that are out on the street getting the things done, and then those that are more in support role. And I was able to chair our equestrian committee, our parade operations, post parade. Those are some of our biggest committees, and for me, most fun because that's, well, parade operations. Get to run the Rose Parade. What a great thing! I mean, when I joined, I never would have imagined, but there I was actually putting that thing on.
You mentioned something interesting the other evening. The parade is longer standing than the game.
That's correct. It's a common misconception. You often hear the Rose Bowl parade, but the parade, this will be the 129th parade and the 104th game. And actually the game came about because we were looking for a way to extend the day, extend the celebration, and then ultimately a way to help finance the parade operations. So that's a great point. Yeah.
Well, you made it the other night. I happen to remember it.
Oh, well, somebody was paying attention.
Retention, I guess. Right.
Yeah.
So, what demands are placed, Amelia, on you as the First Lady with all this? A lot of travel.
A lot of travel.
Yeah.
A lot of travel. A lot of time away from work. But I have a very understanding boss, and he's supportive. So I'm fortunate to travel with Lance.
Yeah.
And that's so amazing to me. You've got roughly 900 volunteers
Right.
that make this all happen. I mean, in your case, you no doubt have to take a leave of absence. I mean, it's hard to maintain, steady employment, I would think, for either one of you with 16 sites to visit in a year's time.
Yeah. We are, we'll be out on the road traveling approximately 120 days, and we both work. We have full-time jobs, and fortunately we've had 7 years to prep our companies. Her boss, Amelia, manages a dental office, and fortunately they're willing to do this to help the community and be supportive of us in doing so. Yeah.
So your next opportunity would be on a rock and roll show. I mean, you'd probably travel less.
Right, that's true.
Sign up with Billy Joel or something. You'd be all set to go.
Indeed, yeah.
Any last thoughts or comments about just Tournament of Roses in total, the totality of all that?
Well, one of the things I'd like to mention is that the president, one of the prerogatives is to pick a theme that helps our float builders design floats and sort of sets the stage, if you will, for the celebration. Mm-hmm. And this year's theme is Making a Difference. It's a salute to our tournament volunteers in part because of that volunteer spirit I mentioned earlier. But what we want to do is celebrate and spotlight all those folks in our communities that just, quietly, without regard for reward or recognition, want to make a difference and do something for, to enrich the lives of others. And one of the things that impressed us about the Londonderry Lancers was their commitment to community service. So we're excited about that connection.
Great theme.
We think it's really timely. New Year's Day is about starting a new year on a hopeful, optimistic basis, and we think it's a great message.
A great reminder we can all use.
Absolutely. Yep.
Thank you so much for stopping by.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. We're really happy to be here.
We hope you enjoy your visit in Londonderry and the rest of New Hampshire.
Thank you. We really are. Yeah. Thanks.
Well, Andy's done this before.
Yes, he has.
So it was meeting the governor and being introduced to a number of town officials earlier in the week, and
It's been a great few days.
good.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have to say goodbye in a couple more days, but
It's not California sunshine, sorry.
No, I know, but as we've said, actually,
It's a nice change.
it's a nice
Okay.
change.
but
Well,
there's
good.
still a lot of warmth.
Yes. Oh, well said. Well said.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 80 degrees at home, and summer starts too soon at home, so we're happy to be here.
Well, send it our way. We're ready.
Okay.
We're ready.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Londonderry, for watching.